but he would just kind of create a character and idle in the client and read Reddit. That's literally what he did.
Yeah, he was lazy. Because daddy, I can't get fired. My daddy works here. What a piece of shit. Yeah, and no wonder he gets so mad at the Nepo baby thing. Because it wasn't, like, I could overlook you getting the job as a Nepo hire. It's the difference between a Nepo hire and a Nepo baby. Like, a Nepo hire is, okay, well, you got your foot in the door because of your dad, but if it was the way he said it was, where once you got your foot in the door, then you worked your way up and you proved yourself. Okay, you were a Nepo hire, but you're your own person and you've worked your way up and you've made a name for yourself. Nepo baby is, I got Nepo hired and now I get to do whatever I want. Like a bring your daughter to work day. And no one can fire me because my dad's the boss.
Redditing instead of doing his job, which was essentially, he, instead of spawning in and just like running Skeleton King, which I know is like literally that first act, or just testing monster spawns, it was just him browsing Reddit.
All right. Pirate Software's ex-roommate speaks out. Now, he already interviewed the ex-roommate, and we went over that on the channel, but this one was posted earlier today, and it's a new one by Quintillo, who's been pretty on point with his Pirate Software coverage. So I'm wondering if he had a second conversation with this roommate. Maybe she was nervous the first time or left some stuff out. I don't know. I think they're both nervous. I'm not sure Quintillo's ever interviewed anyone like this before either. So looks like we got a follow-up, and I'm very curious to see what she has to say. Here was my first thought when I saw that he was interviewing. He kind of misrepresented that in the thumbnail and the title. I don't think he should refer to her as his ex-roommate. I mean, that makes it sound like she's closer to Pirate Software, but I think people would have been more interested if he was like ex-Twitch staff, because that's what she said she was. And the minute we got into that, and she said she was an ex-Twitch staff, I'm like, whoa. Why aren't you stopping the interview there? Like, pull back. Like, as much as we want to know stuff about Pirate Software, find out how long, like what time period she was an ex-staff member on, because there's so many questions she could answer. She could talk about past creators' bans. She could tell you about the Dr. Disrespect drama, why Destiny was actually banned, why this person was banned. Like, she could tell you all the behind-the-scenes shit for not just Pirate Software, but a ton of creators. Like, there's so much information you could pick from that brain. Don't get stun locked on Pirate Software. You just cracked open a gold mine, baby. There's so much content you could pull from this chick, assuming that, you know, she is who she says she is and she's not lying. So I say go for it. Ask her more questions. You know, like, yeah. We'll get to the Pirate Software stuff, but real quick, can you tell me, did you see the Dr. Disrespect messages? Yeah, like ask some questions. I had questions. I had so many questions. But I have a feeling he's going to stay on topic with Pirate Software, but hopefully he stays in touch with this chick. So after the Pirate Software drama, after that cow has been milked dry and he needs to start tapping other sources of content to keep his channel going, maybe he'll dip back into the well of Dr. Disrespect, or dip into the why Destiny got banned, or why Ethan Klein got banned permanently, or your Dan Saltman, or, you know, like a bunch of other people. You know, why has Hassan not been banned? What's the worst thing you've seen from Hassan? Has anyone ever mentioned banning Hassan, and what was their reason for not doing it? Like, there's so many questions regarding so many streamers and the way that they've handled moderation on that platform that he could bust into and just expose Twitch. Like, after you get done milking Pirate Software, like, an expose on Twitch itself should be your next big video. But anyway, let's find out what she's saying about Pirate Software.
I interviewed an ex-coworker and roommate of Pirate Software. Now, you guys saw the first part of that interview last week when I talked about the Twitch terms of services. This person had worked at Twitch for 8 years, as well as working at Blizzard alongside Pirate Software. I figured the information was so different from the beginning of our interview to the end of it that I wanted to separate it between two separate parts. And
Oh, so this is from that same interview. So don't expect any Dr. Disrespect or other influencer drama here. Damn it.
Apologize for this one not coming out sooner, which, if you want more info on that entire debacle...
Yeah, it's been long enough between the two that I was genuinely confused. I think most people were. I thought this was a separate interview thing, and it's not. It's the same.
check out my last video. But we go into detail from Piratesoftware even on his first day on the job, apparently just browsing Reddit. For a man that says that he didn't get his job through nepotism the second time, which is when this would have taken place, it doesn't really line up.
And like, this is kind of my whole career, right? My first job, I got through nepotism, 100%. My dad worked at Blizzard for 23 years. Then I came back to Blizzard in 2009, and I applied, not having his help in any way. I got the job.
More than that, though, we dive into the roommates' experiences and how they only ended up lasting about a week before putting their foot down and saying that Pirate needed to leave. But with all of that out of the way, just last two things. Number one, shout out to...
Wait, so they were only roommates for a week? Like, he was that insufferable that after a week she was like, nah, this ain't gonna work, Chief.
my parents and my brother and my fiance's parents, as they grouped together and got this really cool neon sign, which unfortunately flickers. So I don't know if you guys will see it in another video, but it looks really sick. Special thank you to them. They got it as a surprise because the channel's been doing well recently. So thank you again to all of you if you're watching. And lastly, if you're new here, consider subscribing. It really helps out trying to hit 100K by the end of the year. We're about to hit 80, which is...
I'm trying to hit 1,000. I'm just trying to hit 1K, so if you guys want to sub to mine too. I mean, go sub to him as well, but, you know, subbing's free. You can sub to both of us. That would be, I can eat your entire ass. Yeah, I told you I don't like to eat on stream. But yeah, you guys should sub to both of us. Help me get monetized and help him, I don't know, whatever it is he's trying to do. Hey, it's the merchant. You leaving the village, Unkinji? Master Movements. I'm sorry, I don't have time to chat. Let me guess, you're running straight into a demon's den. There's no other way. I'm not going to stop you, but don't go ill-equipped. Okay, yep, and he tells me about the stuff he's going to sell. Cool, okay, so that's how the shop works. All right, anyway, back to this.
It's insane, but just that single press of a button helps me a great deal. And if you end up hating me later, it's just another button tap away. Also, liking the video helps out, so if you find the information in this video useful, give it a thumbs up, get other people to see it. But regardless of if you do any of that, thank you for watching. Nice to meet you. If you could just kind of give your name and then just kind of your experience with Twitch and just kind of your experience with Pirate, everything in between that you think would be relevant to what we're going to talk about today.
Hi, my name's Cynthia Hall. I go by Ludiana online. I am a lifelong artisan cosplayer. I worked for 5 years at Blizzard and then 8 years at Twitch. And I happen to work with Piratesoftware at Blizzard as his Wrangler on Diablo 3.
Really quick, number one, you
What is a Wrangler? We need clarification.
share a last name, but number two, Wrangler. So what is that? What is
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's such a weird, like, why does an employee need a Wrangler?
does that mean to be a Wrangler for someone during, so you said it was during Diablo 3 testing?
Yes. Basically, what happened is we share the same last name. That's why I don't mind sharing my last name. When I joined the company, they literally thought that we were related because...
So that might have affected her ability to get the job. Like I said the first time, I wonder if that's what happened, is that people thought, oh, this is another one of, you know, not even so much Piratesoftware's relatives here, but they were probably more thinking about his dad. Like, oh, this is another one of, damn it, this is another one of his kids, or another one of his relatives, a cousin or something, right? It's possible.
I have a couple of years on him, so they thought that I was his older sister, and they thought that with me coming in, I could potentially...
Also, they did think it was a sister, so they straight up thought that this is another child of one of our founding members. We better hire her. Damn it.
Handle him, and he would be less of a problem if we were working together.
So
this was a thing that I had to clarify like day one of me moving onto the team.
So this was, the assumption was, oh, okay, they're siblings. She can kind of tune.
Yes. And he'll be less of a problem because we're related and I could go tell daddy.
That's really funny. With him,
Yes.
so with this, him being a problem, now was that unique to Pirate, or is that just to speak to every new
So it was like you're your brother's keeper kind of thing.
person coming into the company?
That was speaking to him, and it was not that he was an HR violation problem. Don't get me wrong. He's very charismatic. He is easy to get along with
He's just insufferable.
socially. However, he was very neglectful of actual work. He was hard.
Oh, it was work related. I was under the impression that like his fellow employees didn't like him. So like they just didn't want to be around him. That's why he was kind of a pariah socially, because he's so insufferable to put up with. But maybe, so she's saying it wasn't even that. It was just work. He was bad at his job.
hard to rein in. He was hard to get to focus on anything important. Like, he wanted to do what he wanted to do. And it wasn't
And he thought he could get away with it because daddy. That or he had a severe case of ADHD, or maybe both.
like he was a jerk about it. Like, I don't want to misconstrue that at all. I'm sure everybody has seen his streams. Like, he pulls off the personality. You know, like, he's nice to his coworkers.
Yeah.
He wanted to do what he wanted to do.
When we're talking about what's important for, let's say, for instance, the Diablo 3 testing, so what was the important stuff that he needed to take care of, and then what was he doing alternatively?
So I was also the person who wrote all of the test cases. He was on the monsters team with me. So we're talking dealing with all the spawns in the game, all the boss testing, having to do all the smoke tests whenever there were new builds, that just end to end, make a character run through to skeleton king kill. Like, that's just testing the builds. Whatever the task was for the day, it could just be spawning different monsters and testing their affixes to see how they perform. That easy. But he would just kind of create a character and idle in the client and read Reddit. That's literally what he did.
Yeah, he was lazy. Because daddy, I can't get fired. My daddy works here. What a piece of shit. Yeah, and no wonder he gets so mad at the nepo at the nepo baby thing, because it wasn't like I could overlook you getting the job as a nepo hire. It's a difference between a nepo hire and a nepo baby. Like, a nepo hire is okay, well, you got your foot in the door because of your dad, but if it was the way he said it was, where once you got your foot in the door, then you worked your way up and you proved yourself. Okay, you were a nepo hire, but you're your own person and you've worked your way up and you've made a name for yourself. Nepo baby is, I got nepo hired and now I get to do whatever I want, like a bring your daughter to work day, and no one can fire me because my dad's the boss. So you didn't prove yourself. You just went to work like it's a bring your kid to work day every day and just did whatever you wanted and got paid until you finally got fired. Does the carpet match the drapes, though? Oh, that's definitely not her real hair. I don't know. Maybe. Does she look like the kind of girl who'd have an OnlyFans? How has our society gotten to the point where we look at girls online like that and we're like, I wonder if she's got an OnlyFans? And you know what? Good on them. Good on them. Now you can monetize that. Instead of sending nudes to guys, you just make an OnlyFans. Even if you did it only for your dating life, you make an OnlyFans, you dump your nudes on there that you would normally send to guys when you were dating or when you're trying to, hook up with a dude. And then when y'all guys start talking and flirting, and he sends you a dick pic and he wants you to send something back, you go, yeah, here you go. You can see them all. And then you just send him a link to the OnlyFans and be like, there you go. They're all right there. And he's going to pay for it. And the guys that get mad, they're not worth your time. Damn, you filtered out the brokies. She looks like she can be Amaranth's aunt. Is she that old? Pretty sure she's younger than Amaranth. I don't know. This chick looks young. Hold on.
He sat in front of me, and
I need to get her smiling and get her face open. I don't know. It's a tough call. She could be. She's probably same age as Amaranth, if not younger. I would say, because keep in mind, Amaranth isn't young. She's just rich enough to afford plastic surgery. So, a little movie magic for you. A little behind baseball here. A little behind the music.
I was assigning the tasks. So not only did I see the work he was not doing, I saw what he was doing instead the entire time.
Okay, so sorry, to clarify,
Yeah.
He was Redditing instead of doing his job, which was essentially instead of spawning in and just like running Skeleton King, which I know is like literally that first act, or just testing monster spawns, it was just him browsing Reddit.
Basically, because it was apparently too demanding of his time to
Now,
actually.
Jesus. So given the most base level testing job, hey, spawn in this character that's supposed to have these stats and then see if it has these stats. Pull up an enemy that's supposed to have this modifier and fight it and see if that modifier triggers. That's it. And you probably got timetables to say, okay, it even tells you in Diablo, if you've ever played Diablo, it'll tell you how often sometimes it'll tell you how often the enemy is supposed to do a thing. you know, it's got this affix on it where it'll send out a freeze pulse every 3 to 5 seconds. You know, but so you wouldn't even have to play that long. Oh my God, what's her name? I can look her up and I can look her up and tell. Amaranth is 31. Yeah, I knew she was in her 30s. This chick's probably, I'd say probably mid to late 20s. I don't think she's above 30 yet. If she is, she's probably same age as Amaranth in her early 30s, maybe. That would be my guess. I'd be shocked if she were any older than that. I forgot what her name was. She said it in the beginning. I can see if it's in the description real quick. Part 2 of the... No, he just calls her Piratesoftware's former roommate and coworker. She opens up... She says her name in the beginning, though. We can go back and listen to it after this, but I don't want to lose this where I'm at on the video, so I'm not going to do it right now. All right, anyway, we'll keep going.
Was this immediate? Was this a gradual onset of more Redditor Thor coming out? Okay.
This was a constant. And it was to the point where in QA, we had a maximum of 2 displays. Like, that was just your kit. You had 2 displays. If you had 3, it was because you had a Mac for testing. That's it.
Oh my God.
He requested a 3rd display because he claimed he needed it for his bots when he started doing some automation testing. He just wanted it to have the extra space for Reddit, YouTube.
So he can browse multiple things at once that he's not supposed to be browsing. And it's not even like you're giving good excuses. Like, there's no way like a normal employee would get away with this. This shit's obvious. Like, I've worked in an office before and had people make these kind of requests, and it's obvious what they're doing. When they ask for like a more privacy in their cubicle or something, or ask for like a bigger wall or an extender wall or something like that. Okay, this motherfucker wants to play his Switch or his Game Boy or on his phone or game on his phone or something. Yeah, when they ask for a charging station for their phone or that kind of shit.
Mail. He just wanted the extra space.
Okay, totally fair.
I wish I was Mimi. I am a huge slack ass, and I completely understand like the ADHD mentality of I just need stuff, and I also
Dude,
vibe code. Like I get it. If you're compiling, if you're running bots, you probably want to do other stuff while something is running and just kind of observe the console. I get it. I know how these things work. But I'm saying, like, this dude was legit.
Yeah, but you don't need a 3rd monitor for that. I mean, I'd do it with 3 monitors, but I could do it with 2. I've done it with 2 monitors before I finally got the 3rd one. It's absolutely possible. You just have to rearrange the windows and make shit a little bit smaller. Or if you got a monitor that tilts, tilt it up, because I've had one that tilts and I tilt it up vertically. So I've got one long monitor and then I boom, 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 tile up the windows. So I'd have my game right here and then I got OBS right there. I got YouTube chat. I got Discord. I got Twitch chat. I got Kick chat. You know, I got all this stuff open that I want to see. So there's ways to make it work. Like, you don't need the 3rd monitor. So they would have to ask him, like, specifically, what do you not have room for that you can't fit on your 2 monitors? If all you're supposed to be doing is, monitoring the game and the console, like, that's not that demanding.
Just ignoring the tasks at hand. We would sit, like, with the window divider between us. I would sit there watching my buddy. He would watch me.
Oh,
and we'd just be sitting there
downward with it,
waiting for Jason to actually participate in the team tasks that we had been assigned.
So why weren't you correcting it? Like, if this was the entire way, like, I would get fired if I was doing something like that.
Yeah. So that is the funny thing. I brought this up to my specialist who sat behind me. So it was specialist, me, Thor. He said, well, you could try to escalate it, but no one's going to do anything because I tried to report it before. So I talked to my manager and I talked to one of the department heads. Like, I talked to the manager.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Just the way this is set up is pissing me off. Hold on a second. I gotta focus up for a second here. Oh, okay. Jesus.
Over the project. And
I'm gonna go back a little bit.
Do anything because I've tried to report it before. So I talked to my manager and I talked to one of the department heads. Like, I talked to the manager over the project. And I was essentially told that no one is going to do anything because of who he is. And this
So I was right. He does have daddy's protection. Even if dad didn't ask for that kind of protection, just the fact that people know who you are makes them scared because your dad is so high up in the company.
has nothing to do with Joey Ray directly. Like, I want to make this very clear. I'm also friends with Joey Ray. Like, he is a mutual friend of friends. Okay, so like I've had direct interactions. I know him well enough to say he would absolutely not do anything to help Jason. Like, he is not somebody who spoke to get him rehired. But here's how nepotism actually works, which Jason also doesn't understand. It does not look good on your future at Blizzard if you mess with an executive's son. Period. Everybody knows who Jason is. If you write him up, if you fire him.
Yeah, so even if his dad wasn't threatening people, it's the fact that everyone knows who you are. Like, I'm not gonna be that guy. I know I'm not supposed to get in trouble for writing him up, and his dad never threatened me, but do you want to be the guy to take that risk? Oh, typical. It was as we all thought. Assuming that what she's saying is true. I know it's all unverified. But then again, so is everything that he said. And all we have to go on is their word. And so far, he's been caught lying more times than she has. So I trust her more than I trust him. She doesn't really have a reason to lie, I don't think.
Him for misconduct or otherwise, people are going to know you did it. They're not going to know that anything was actually going on. They're just going to know you were the guy that fired Joey Ray's son. And your career's pretty much...
Yeah, do you want to be that guy whose reputation is, oh, that's the guy that fired the boss's son?
toast. Because everybody in the games industry knows each other too. So who's going to act?
Oh, so you don't just lose your job at Blizzard if that happens. Fuck, I didn't even think about that. Because a lot of those guys are contracted or, they're always scared of layoffs, so they need to keep networking. That's why I hadn't crossed my mind that everyone in that industry does know each other, because they all have to network, because devs get passed around like $2 whores, because layoffs happen all the time. A lot of them are contracted. They work on a game, the game's finished, and they get laid off. Like, layoffs constantly happen, so they need to have their foot in the door with the next project at the next company, and then it goes in a circle. The lower level guys, especially ones that would be the direct supervisor of a guy in QA, yeah, they get passed around like $2 fucking hookers, man. What are these jarheads doing there? Can't be anything good. Okay.
Actually do anything because Jason's doing nothing. Nobody. They're just going to let him do what he's going to do. And that's exactly what I was told. And that's exactly why Jason was allowed to form his hacks team, which is actually just exploits testing. He was allowed to do whatever he wanted to do because nobody would course correct him.
Okay. What year was this when he came on for the Diablo 3? Was this the first time he was hired in?
This was when he came back, I believe. This was, I think, 2011.
Also, the time that he claimed he came back on his own merit, because he said the first time was nepotism and I sucked at my job, but the second time I made it on my own. Remember, there was a whole speech about that, how the second time was all him, baby. It was all him.
2011. Okay, so this is the second round of coming in. You said, to the best of your knowledge, it was as soon as he got hired back in, he was acting exactly like that. He was not...
Yeah.
Okay. With that knowledge, I also just kind of want to touch on, so you say that he kind of created that exploitation team, not because there was a requirement for it, but just because he would not be course corrected to do anything else. And the reason I kind of bring this up, I'm not trying to make Thor look bad intentionally, but I'm targeting the way that you had brought this up about him being and creating that exploit team. It wasn't because he was the best to do it, it's because he's the one that wanted to do it.
My understanding is it's what he wanted to do, and he presented himself as the best candidate to do it. And
yeah, he's if his streams have proven anything, and his success has proven anything, it's that he's really good at overselling himself.
I am not going to pretend to know the inner workings of how it came to be, because I was not part of those conversations at all. So I don't know if he actually formed the team, or if the QA managers formed the team, including him. It's weird calling it a hacks team. It's really not hacking. Like, it is a focused automation testing team. that's really what it was.
Use
like,
bots to
focused on
test the
exploits.
reported bugs and exploits.
It's the fire.
Yeah, it was automation testing.
Okay. With I think we got a good understanding of what that was. I've kind of touched on that nepotism bit myself too, and was like, well, it's not just, oh, his dad, is like up here. It's like, well, it's not that. It's a very, you don't see it, you feel it. That's it. And the person who's, getting it is not going to notice that. So it's interesting. I'm glad we got a bit more insight on that. You guys knew each other clearly as coworkers. Was there anything like, did you guys spend time playing video games or anything like that?
Oh yeah, geez. A couple things. So video games. There was actually a charity event on campus. It's an Extra Life charity that every year as Team Zerg, unofficially, Blizzard would put together our own team for donations to raise money for Children's Hospital of Orange County. And we would play games on campus for 24 hours straight. Pirate just happened to participate in this. I was on his team for a league tournament, and he screamed at our team for apparently not gearing correctly to counter the other team, because we were just that bad, when it's not like we were losing so severely, because we all played League regularly. It was not that big of a deal, and we're all sleep deprived. It was very early in the morning after an overnight of playing.
All right, so we have an example of him playing video games with coworkers the same way he played with his OnlyFans guild for the WoW drama. And he's probably going to end up blaming his coworkers for their loss instead of taking responsibility. Even back then, when there's no, when there's nothing on the line and it's just for fun.
Playing games, and we're like, seriously, dude, you are raging at everybody. Like, our entire team. He was just yelling across the floor at everybody.
It's a charity event, correct?
It was a children's charity event. And we're like, wow, we all play League, but man, like, we usually only experience this stuff in League. Most of us like played League with each other at work, but this was our first time actually playing with him, especially at work, so that was a whole new experience, and the last time literally any of us played any games with him. And ironically, I actually have something here that I wanted to show you. So they give us like these little cards whenever we do cool things at Blizzard. And this was related to the charity event. That was like thanking me for playing nice with my coworkers. And I'm like, oh wow, he got one of these too. So yeah, I was kind of floored when I was going through some of the work stuff. Before that had happened, and not too long after he had joined the team, I had a roommate who urgently had to move out. She had a family emergency.
All right, so this is how he came to be her roommate. She was kind of put in a spot where she didn't have a choice. I gotta have somebody quick, and he was looking for a place. Got it.
Sure.
No longer like stay in the apartment. And I was like, that's cool. I'll find another roommate. Panicking. Pirate joined the team, and he apparently urgently needed to move out of his dad's house for some reason. So anyways, I was like, hey, so I barely know you. And of course I asked some people around, like, so is this guy like a psycho? Like, is this something reasonable? Is he gonna trash my place if I ask him, like, if he wants to rent this room from me? Because it was a full like bedroom plus his own private bathroom. Like, it was basically a split apartment setup. So it was ideal for renting and sharing. Like, it wouldn't have been weird with Nicole coming over or anything. Like, it would have been fine. And I knew Nicole as well, and she was perfectly normal.
Okay, so there wasn't a lot of shared space here. Got it.
Human being.
Nicole being, sorry, who?
Nicole, I believe, is the girl he ended up marrying.
Oh, okay.
Like his ex. Yeah.
Okay. Just to confirm, so the timeline events, that charity thing happened a bit after, so you guys had already been rooming together, and then you did not know him prior to him going to work with you?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Cool.
Like, I barely knew who Joey Ray was at the time. Told Pirate, I'm like, hey, are you really looking to rent a place? Because, I had this room open. So he ended up taking me up on the offer. He also had a cat, and I was like, cat non-destructive, right? Like, I have furniture and stuff because, it's fully furnished. And he was like, yeah, totally non-destructive. I'm like, cool, because I love cats. I have no animals, fine fit.
Okay, getting a better look at her now, I'm leaning more towards early 30s. I think you're right. The more I see her talk, and she's wearing a lot of makeup to try to cover it, but she's definitely older than late 20s now. Getting a better look here. I think you're right. I think she's probably early 30s, maybe mid to late 30s, and she aged well. It's possible. It's possible she's older than Amaranth. But either way, I'd say she's still in the same ballpark as Amaranth, though. I don't think she's old enough. I don't think she looks old enough to be Amaranth's aunt. Older sister, maybe.
Great. We're on the same team, same overtime schedule. Amazing.
So he ends up being your roommate. It sounds really good. You know, every bare minimum's met, not crazy girlfriend, a cat that he's saying is not destructive. How does that end up pulling out? How long were you guys roommates for?
It took days for him to start screaming at people on Eve overnight.
Eve Online. Eve Online.
Yes.
Okay.
The cat, that's totally non-destructive, straight up destroyed one of the chairs within the first week. And because it was patent
He even lied about his cats. Dude.
leather, like the polyurethane.
I'm not talking about actual age. I just said looks. Yeah, no, like I get what you're saying, but I'm saying she doesn't look old enough to be his aunt. Like she looks like an older sister. That's what I'm getting at. Like she doesn't look like, in order to be his aunt, she'd have to be like 20 years older. 15 at least. 15 to 20 years older, I would say. Unless it's like one of those families with like a really weird age gap, in which case she'd be the age of an older sister. So that I think you're forgetting how old Amaranth is. Was my point. I think you forgot that Amaranth is in her 30s. So you're looking at a woman who would have to be like 45, tapping on 50. Yeah, she don't look that old, man.
Stuff. He offered to tape it up for me, not replace it, and also tried to make it out like the cat never did anything to the chair, even though it was like raked and like cheese gratered up.
The cat scratched the shit out of the chair. There's no...
Scratched the shit.
He didn't have that cat a scratching post? Yeah, see, especially when, wow, that is a crazy screen to pause on. I'm Mexican, so my uncle and aunts are within 10 years of age. Okay, well, in white people years, it's typically like 15 or so. Between age, because I'm thinking about my siblings. Like even if I go to my oldest brother, who's 6 years older than me, if he had his first kid, even at like an early age, we'll say 15, that would still mean that in order for me to be that kid's uncle, I'd be 15 years older than him. Because, well, no, he's 15, so 6 years old. Okay, well, yeah, then that's about 10. But most of the time, like we're within like an age, like a couple years apart, and most people aren't having kids at 15. So that was kind of my, okay, well, I'd have to be, you know, probably 10 to 15 years higher than that person to be their uncle. I'm just saying, she doesn't look that old. She looks like an older sister. Although that screenshot right there might, where I paused it, might say a different story. She's still cute though. Would hit. Okay, let's not downplay that this woman has aged gracefully. All right, just like myself and my beautiful wife. Remember, guys, black don't crack. All right, let's go.
Get out of the chair.
Right. You can't do that any other way. Yeah.
Yeah. There was no way around it. Pretty much any time that I came home and went into the kitchen, all the dishes everywhere, like the pans, still food in them on the stove, shit everywhere, food, countertops, everything everywhere. Like, it was not disgusting sty, but it was very just a fucking mess.
Yeah, just clutter and shit everywhere. I think I know what she's saying. He's not like Asmongold level, where he's just like leaving old food and shit out, but he's leaving like trash, probably dirty dishes. You know, he's probably got like several glasses on his desk, or maybe he had himself a glass of juice, or you know, whatever he's drinking. He's probably got wrappers of stuff he's opened, and all of that could be alleviated having a trash can in your room like I got over here, and then you get done with it, you throw it in the trash can. But he's not leaving, like, he's got clutter everywhere, and it's not like food, so it's not attracting bugs. It's not like disgusting, because I've had both kinds of roommates in college. I've had the one that just like left shit everywhere, so I'm constantly tripping over his fucking shit because he wasn't disgusting. It's not like food and stuff. It's not filth. It's just clutter. Like, he would just leave shit where he's done with it. You know, controllers for video games in the floor. He's leaving, like, his notebook, his textbooks in the floor, or sitting on the couch. I go to sit down, I'm sitting on top of a textbook or something. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, you got just shit everywhere all the fucking time. Like, put your shit up when you're done with it. And now, as a parent, I'm dealing with that with children because they're constantly, like, they use their tablet, they go to play with something, they just leave shit wherever they're done with it is where they leave it. That's just kid shit. So you got to kind of keep drilling it into their head, like, when you're done with it, put it away. Don't just leave it where it's at. They'll leave their phone and they're constantly losing their stuff. They'll lose their phone, they'll lose their tablet, they'll lose their whatever because they got done playing with it and they forgot where they were at when they got done playing with it, and it ended up, you know, in some weird place. Versus the kind of roommate I had one guy who was shared an apartment together, and we ended up getting a real bad roach infestation. And I keep the house pretty clean. So I would constantly, like, if no one else did the dishes, I'd just be the guy to do them because I really hate bugs. Really hate bugs. Like that Asmongold disgusting shit where he's got like a cockroach roommate. Ugh, couldn't do it. But I started noticing roaches everywhere. And we never went in this guy's room. Like, we were respectful of each other's space. And then I started seeing roaches come out. I remember I walked into the living room because his room was right here. Then there was the living room. And there was my room. And then the kitchen's back there. But the bugs weren't near the kitchen. So I walked into the living room to turn the light switch on, which is on the wall that his room is on the other side of. So it's like wall right here. His room's right here. Living room's right here. So I go in to turn on the light in the living room. And when I turn the light switch on, cockroaches came out from behind the light switch. And I'm like, why are they here and not in the kitchen where the food is? And he wasn't home at the time. So I popped open his door. And I never see him in the kitchen making food or anything. And then I figured out why. There was a stack of pizza boxes this fucking high that still had like half-eaten like pizza crust and shit in them. He had Wendy's bags. He had Bojangles bags. It was just, he's buying food and just throwing it wherever. It was a hoarder's mess in that room. And I was like, oh my God. We got in a huge fight when he got back that day. And that, yeah, we did not stay roommates long after that. But yeah, like I can deal with the clutter. Like I'll help you clean and we can just develop better habits. But the disgusting stuff, that's a way harder. It's a way harder problem to fix. And that points at a bigger problem. It's not just that this guy is disorganized. It's that this guy is just either next level lazy or just poor hygiene. And he's disgusting. You're either Asmongold and you don't bathe and you're disgusting. I don't think Piratesoftware is that. I think he's just lazy. Because it sounds like he just left clutter everywhere and he's just lazy. I don't know how people can let food rot in their room. I can't stand having any bugs. Yeah, I'm the same. I can't fucking stand it. Like I can't even stand having the clutter on my desk. And I'll admit sometimes I got clutter on my desk, but most of it's like, it's not trash. I just don't have enough room to put shit. We're in a bigger space now than we were, but we're not in as big a space as I want to be in. So I got a pretty large desk, but I've got like a lot of shit on it. And when I say shit on it, I don't mean like trash or, you know, stuff like that. I mean like stuff like this. Like I got the PlayStation controller over here. You know, I got a capture card over there. I got wires running. I got, you know, I've got a switcher for, I got a USB switcher so that I can switch my USB keyboard and mouse to my Xbox when I want it. I got external hard drives. I've got an HDMI switcher and an HDMI splitter so that I can run two consoles to the same computer so that I can capture the gameplay. And then I got to run it to the monitor. So I've got all this extra shit. You know, I got Joy-Cons. I've got a stand for the VR headset. I got a stand for my headset. I got a stand for my wife's headset. I got the microphone. I got multiple monitors. It's not very organized. There's just not enough room on my desk to sit all this stuff, so it just kind of ends up laying there. And don't even get me started on what the cable situation looks like behind the desk, because there's zero cable management going on back there. There's just cables draped on top of cables to bring all this shit together. But that's different than like leaving like just trash. I'm not even talking about food trash. Maybe he's got old napkins, that kind of thing. So you're making me want to clean my desk. Dude, I wish I could clean mine. Like, I don't know where else to put this stuff. Like, I need storage space is what I need. Because I've got a ton of stuff, most of which you never even see on stream, or you don't even see it in use. Like, I got my retro Pi right here sitting. Got this just sitting on the floor next to the desk, but my retro Pi that I made. Got the 2 USB on the front here. You know, it's got an SD card slot, HDMI out. Boom, LAN port, more USB drive. Yeah, so I got my little retro gaming console I built. You know, I got the Xbox controller. I've got stuff just on the floor because I don't have any space to put it. Like, where the fuck am I supposed to put this? This fucking beast. Look at this thing. This thing's huge. My fucking fight stick, and it's heavy. So, PS3's over there. Yeah, I got a PS3, Xbox, Switch, PS5. So multiple consoles all have to take up this desk space with 3 monitors, and yeah, so it's just a lot of stuff. And I try to keep it organized as best I can. There's just not a lot of room to sit at all, and I can't put it on like the other side of the room or put it in a closet because I need it over here to use it. So anyway, when are we getting the gaming room tour? Right now, it's not much of a tour. It is. I used to have a separate room for streaming. And that was when I just streamed video games for fun. I wish I had started doing YouTube back then, but I wasn't doing YouTube. I was just doing Twitch. And it was me just wanting to game with friends and have a place to record my gameplay footage in case I wanted to clip something. And Twitch had that cool clip feature. So I would just stream to Twitch and then upload the clips to YouTube because Twitch will delete them after a certain amount of time. So I'd hit the export to YouTube button. So you can go back and see that I've got years worth of videos on my YouTube. But after like 6 months ago, it's all like 30-second clips. Like, I'm clearly not trying to be a YouTuber back then. I'm clearly not trying to make content. I'm just a guy turning on a camera and having fun with his, you know, and that's how I learned to do the setup and get the green screen and do all this going, was just playing around with my friends and turning on the camera just to record the gameplay footage. And if I make new friends along the way, great. If I go viral, great. If I don't, I didn't care. I wasn't actually trying to make content. Now I'm trying to make content because I care about this stuff now. And I don't want to just do video games anymore. I wanted to do drama because watching drama while playing video games is my favorite thing to do. And I used to not do that on stream because I didn't want to distract from the gameplay on screen. That was stupid. I should have been doing this a long time ago because I should have just been playing video games the way I enjoy playing them, which is while watching drama. But anyway, right now it's not much of a room because I used to have a separate room for that, and that room was huge. We were renting a house back when I first started doing this, and I only started deciding to actually set up this and learn to stream because we had the room. We were renting a house at the time, and the garage for that house had been converted into a like extra room. So like the garage part wouldn't even open anymore. Like they had removed the garage door entirely and put a bay window in it. When I say it had been converted, I mean like they had remodeled it. It had carpet, it was attached, it was insulated. So it wasn't like I was just in a garage. It was like another room in the house. But it was detached from the house. So I could be loud and I could rage at games because I used to get way too into the games, and I'm just streaming Call of Duty with my friends and stuff. But I had that huge room. So I learned how to set up a green screen. I was like, I might as well learn to stream. I got all this extra room. Let's do something with it. And I really wanted to stream VR. So I learned, like, I was just teaching myself how to do all this stuff to try to make cool. I was just trying to make cool gaming clips to share with my friends and to put online. So I had learned how to not just play Beat Saber in VR, but how to make it so that I had a camera pointed at me and I had a green screen draped down the wall and over the carpet. So I had 2 green screens, one on the floor and one on the wall. So my entire surrounding was a green screen, and I could green screen myself into the game. So you're seeing a third-person perspective behind me and seeing me in the game instead of the normal first-person perspective most people streamed on. Because I wanted the clips to look cool as shit. So I was learning how to do all that stuff. That room was awesome. I had room for all my shelves. It was immaculate. It was fucking organized. I had all my wall scrolls. I had all my Comic-Con signed pictures from voice actors and stuff. 'Cause I go to Comic-Con all the time, so I had all those pictures up. I had the space for VR over in the corner with the green screen and stuff, and then I had my collectibles because I am a sucker. In case you guys don't know, I am a sucker for statues. Like, that's my thing. I got a whole shelf with like not action figures, but like the $200-$300 statues. Most of which, like, I especially like, I am especially a sucker for, like, you want me to buy a really expensive collector's edition for a game? Put a fucking statue in it. I bought the collector's edition of Street Fighter 6. I suck at fighting games. I'm not even that into them. I got some guys in my Discord who are, so they'll play with me. But I really wanted, it came with 2 statues, Kimberly and Luke. And it came with a whole diorama background to put them on and everything. Oh, they look great on the shelf, man. And then I've got a Lady Deadpool. I've got regular Deadpool. I've got Squirrel Girl. I've got Batman. I've got Superman. I've got like all of these ones, and I'd buy them at Comic-Con. I go to Comic-Con. I see a cool looking statue. Some are handmade. Some are hand painted. Some are, imported from Japan or somewhere else. Yeah, like that kind of thing. So I've got all that cool shit. And then we moved to this place where I don't have that room anymore. So the 3rd floor of this townhome we're in now, because of course, every time our lease is up, price of rent goes up, but my price I'm getting paid at my job doesn't go up. So eventually I get priced out of the place I live. Common problem nowadays they really should address. So every 2 to 3 years, we have to move. We couldn't find another house like that for rent. We got a real good deal on that one, and I was we were renting from this old lady who lived out of state and seemed like it was a hassle to have to come check on this property anytime something went wrong, because we had, a plumbing issue one time. We had an issue with the AC one time, and she was cheap. She didn't want to hire professionals, so she'd have to like send one of her relatives out there, or she'd come out there and blah 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 to look at this stuff. But she lives out of state, and it would take her a while to get there. She seemed like she didn't want to do this anymore. She's renting it privately, and she was just like, seemed like it was more hassle than it was worth for her. So I was desperately trying to convince this old lady to sell me that house. Like, sell me the house. Give me a price so I can go to a bank and hopefully I got the credit, or I can come up with a down payment or something. I want to buy this house. It was a huge house, 5 bedrooms, including that extra room that the garage. So it was 4 bedrooms plus the garage that had been converted. Huge kitchen, huge living room, dining room, plus a extra, room, I think day room or whatever they call it. I ended up turning that into a home theater. I mounted a fucking projector I bought off Amazon. It's a cheap one. I'm not a rich guy, but like $100 projector, but it would do 1080p, and I mounted that on the wall. Put a screen, mounted that on the ceiling, put a screen on the wall. So we could sit on the couch and have like a theater room. Like, I had all this cool shit that I don't have room for, so it's all just in the attic up here now, because we don't have room for it anymore. The townhome we got now is only 3 bedroom. The 3rd bedroom I am sitting in right now. I don't have a room to stream in. I got one for my kids, one for each of my kids, and me and my wife. So my wife goes to bed while I'm streaming with all lights on. She's a trooper. I mean, she originally planned to stream with me, but she knew that I was going to start taking this seriously and didn't want to stop me. So I set up the computer on one side of the room. The wall behind me has that green screen on it, so this entire wall is green, and then the rest of the room is white, and it's just a bedroom. I don't have room for all that other stuff, so now I got to kind of try to make it work on the desk, and that's why it's so cluttered. I know it's a long way to get back to where we were, but there we are. It's just so cluttered. But she sleeps airplane style, because that was the compromise. She's like, well, if I can't stream with you or I need to sleep, then I can put in some earbuds, put a mask on like I sleep on a plane, and I get used to it. Plus, she could sleep through a hurricane anyway. So as long as I'm not yelling and screaming like I was doing back in the old house when I was raging at video games, then she's fine. And she tries to join me when she can. So I have the best wife in the world, is what I'm saying. Okay, so back to where we were. The point of it, to bring it all back to Pirate Software, is I can kind of excuse some clutter depending on the environment and how much room you have versus how much stuff you have. Because I tried doing a personal storage space for a while, but I hated having the extra monthly bill and then not having the stuff. I could deal with like the extra like $10 or $20 a month it was to rent a storage unit, but the not having stuff in my house when I needed it and going, is that in storage? And having to constantly drive back and forth to the storage place just so I could check storage to be like, where did I put this thing? Like, yeah, like I hate not knowing where my stuff is. I like having shelves and having everything organized, and I can't be organized when I don't have the space to organize. It's frustrating. His doesn't sound like that problem though. He sounds like the lazy kind of guy, just judging by his work ethic, the way he was raised. His parents probably didn't really make him do anything, give him any kind of responsibilities and make him do stuff. It was always kind of a whatever you want to do kind of parenting. I'm guessing, again, I don't know anything about his parents, but just judging by his behavior as an adult, it seems like he didn't have very strict parents. And now as an adult, he's having to figure this stuff out, that people in the real world aren't going to clean up after you like mama does. Like that's not your mom. Your roommate's not your dad. Like, maybe he had a housekeeper growing up. I don't know. That's typical of people who have housekeepers or like stay-at-home moms, that they'll just clean up after them, and then they get out into the real world and realize no one's going to clean up after me. I can't just leave shit laying around anymore. And it's a very hard habit to break. But as long as it's not food, I can kind of understand it. If it's food, then you're disgusting. Sounds like he's just lazy. All right, anyway, back to this. I've ranted for long enough.
Okay. And when you're working overtime, you just want to come home, make a quick meal or whatever, especially on weekends when you're not doing overtime. You don't want to have to clean up after your roommate to function in your own apartment. So it was just like trying to do gentle nudging, like, hey, dude, could you like be a bit better about putting away leftovers and stuff? You know, like trying to be diplomatic about the whole thing. And I'm like, the fucking combination of things, right? You know, like the not letting me sleep, the cat destruction, the mess of it all.
That was happening within the first week, all of these things that you're listing.
First week.
Okay, how
And
long did this go on for?
Well, this made me more suspicious about what else was going on. And I'm not a privacy invader, but he had left the door open to his bathroom, and I like just looked inside because it was in the hallway. It was like a hallway to go through to the bathroom, and then his bedroom, which the door was closed, so I did not go in there, and then my bedroom. So like I just turned on the hall light and I peeked in there, and the place was a fucking sty. He had never put up a shower curtain in the bathroom.
What? So there's no shower curtain. Anyone can just walk in and see this naked pirate software at any time. Why would you not have a shower curtain? That's such a basic thing.
There was like ashy.
Could you bathe without a shower curtain? I mean, I know physically you could, but I'm asking like you personally, Chad. Is there anyone in chat who would feel comfortable bathing without a shower curtain, especially if you didn't live either alone or with like your wife or loved one, if you're living with just a roommate? I don't think I could.
Stuff everywhere, like gray ash kind of looking spots everywhere, including like in the shower, on the floors, on the countertops. The toilet it had been a fucking week, and I could not understand the state of things. Let me just say that I was very concerned. Okay, and the sum of it all, I was like, this is not gonna work out, my guy. So I just like had a talk with him, and I was like, hey, look, like this is not a thing between us because you're a cool dude, but like with the cat, you said non-destructive, already destroyed a chair, this is not gonna work out. Like, I'm pretty sure that's...
Yeah, nip that shit in the bud early, because it's clear that you have misled me as to what this situation is. You told me the cat's non-destructive, he's immediately destroying shit. So it's not even like a problem I can fix, because now I'm supposed to what? Wait for you to train your cat who's never been trained in his life? Not to mention, it's a cat. Not saying you can't train a cat, but they are way harder to train than dogs. So yeah, this ain't gonna work. Yeah, like you gotta nip that shit in the bud early.
Straight how I played it, but I'm like, the sum of all things, I do not need this apartment destroyed. You know, it's my deposit, my name on this primarily, because I was a primary resident, and I do not need destruction of property.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, she probably didn't get him put on the lease because this was a we need someone here quick. Both of you needed someone there very quickly, so you don't have so you're not going to go to the office and like get them to redo the paperwork. You're just going to take it for what it is. So you're going to just like let him in there and just kind of risk it. Yeah, which he totally took advantage of. Like, he knew his cat had a scratching problem. There's no way you don't know. I own a cat. Trust me, I'm well aware of what that cat will do. What the fuck? Oh.
Property on my record or any of that. So, like, I could not take that chance. He inelegantly took it as a, all right, fine, I'll move out kind of thing. He did get out of there within the next month. He never paid me back for the chair, by the way. Never did anything about that.
Of course not.
And
because that would require it's not even about the money there. That would require taking responsibility for something, which we all know he's incapable of doing. Like, he won't even replace the like you know your cat scratched up the chair. There's no one else in the house that could have done it, and you're the only one with a cat. Of course it's your fault, and you should pay for it. But he's not going to, because that would mean taking responsibility. So he probably blamed it on something else. Well, maybe your chair smelled like something, or blah. I want to hear if she gives a reason why he wouldn't pay it back, or if they had that conversation.
when he finally did move out, I wish I had saved pictures of the state of his room. He had cleaned nothing, so I had to clean everything by hand. There was, like, I don't know what on the walls in his bedroom, and you're just gonna have to, like, take my word for this. I don't know if it was snot or something else, just, like, wiped here and there on the walls, and more of the, like, random gray stuff, just spots and things. It's very clearly not, like, smoke ash, because there was no odor of it or anything.
So is she saying he was filthy? Like, what was that shit then?
That is just strange. That sounds like a cryptid.
It was very strange, right? It was disgusting.
Like, what, is he fucking laying eggs in there? Like, what the fuck's going on?
Like, I was masked up and gloved up and everything for all of this because, like, holy, like, well, gross. Lesson learned, don't get guys as roommates, especially when you're a girl.
Hey, don't compare all of us to him. That's not fair. He is an exceptional case.
Who gets the icks from this kind of thing.
So that's a lot of that personal stuff. Now, I think that is relevant. I do.
Yeah, that's not all guys. That Piratesoftware does not represent all men.
You think so? This was what, 10?
He does give us all a bad name though, because obviously women are gonna compare. Oh, is this what living with guys is like? He gets to be the representation for all men.
Years ago now, 15.
Forever, yeah. Quite some.
So I'm not, again, this isn't to dismiss that. That sounds absolutely horrific. You know, this was some of that old stuff, but I really appreciate getting to hear it. If you have any information, like whether it be like even if you have text messages or emails or anything else to kind of corroborate that time, it'd be awesome. If you don't, that's, you know, we're just taking your testimony as testimony. And I think it's just good to know, have some of that context getting into it.
I'll send you over some of the screenshots that I also sent to some of my other coworkers, because like when all the pirate stuff like really started stirring, like we started sending stuff to each other. One of our other friends, he's another person that played League with Jason at one point. Apparently also got raged at. But this guy...
Oh, of course.
is a master troll. This guy was also one of my best friends. Would print out a photo of Edward Cullen's face and tape it to the bottom of Pirate's mouse, so that whenever he would come back to his desk, he would wiggle his mouse to try to wake his PC, and he just couldn't wake his PC. So he'd have to flip his mouse over and be greeted with Edward Cullen's face. And you could just hear him scream across the floor.
It's good.
All right, that's pretty good. I've done some pranks on roommates too. That one's a pretty innocent and funny prank. Wonder how he reacted to that. Edward Cullen? That's pretty good.
Good to know. So this wasn't like, you know, he swooned.
Like, I've done that before, but I never thought to do it with a picture. That's even better. Like, I would usually use like a black piece of electrical tape and just put it over top of the sensor for the mouse, so that when my roommate, you know, is like, the fuck's wrong with my mouse? And usually they wouldn't even tell it had a black piece of tape on it. Like, I've had roommates that would straight up replace their mouse because they thought it was broken, because they're like, I can't, it's not, the light's not coming on. Like, they wouldn't even notice the piece of tape.
to everybody with his charisma, because like I'm not gonna lie, like the internet understands that. A lot of people are, you know, he was in the good graces of most of the internet literally just a year ago. But you're saying, so even with that, and I think it makes sense based on his quote unquote work ethic or lack thereof, there were people that already were like, he was just kind of irritating.
And I feel like this is why a lot of people aren't really talking about him, because like there's several camps of us. Either people just legitimately,
I mean, I would imagine the people that still work at Blizzard are scared to speak out about him even now, because embarrassing him publicly and having a video of you being interviewed going viral talking about the boss's son, and he still works there. I don't know if his dad still works at Blizzard or not, but if he does still work there, I can see why people wouldn't want to. It could still anger the boss, you know. He could be personally offended by it, even though his son doesn't work there anymore. So he could still come back to bite you. So he still holds that power over people, potentially. Again, I don't know if his dad still works there. But if his dad does, then he still holds that power over people.
didn't know him at the time, didn't care to know him, don't remember him, aren't even aware he exists at this time. He was on no one's radar. There's no reason for him to be on anyone's radar right now. They have no clue. There's people like me who had to work directly with him and are just so raged that they don't want to talk about him. There are his few friends who like may speak positively about him, but we don't really hear anything from them. But then there's also the few people who want to speak out, but they don't because they're afraid of the repercussions. And I feel like that's the majority of the people that I know too, because games industry is so small. A lot of people are still in games. So they don't want to talk about these things because, again, you know, like they don't want things to come back to them.
Is it even a matter of, so does Jason's dad, does he have this like undying love and adoration for his son that is going to impact someone's work history? Is it just the fact that you would speak about someone's son?
No. So, here's the thing about Joey Ray. I am not in his DMs at all about any of this because I respect him and I know, like, at least in the past, about how he's felt about this thing. His entire mentality has been, if you have a problem with Jason, take it up with Jason. Like, he doesn't want to deal with any of that. He's not the kind of person who's, like, gonna come to his rescue.
That sounds like the healthiest way for nepotism to be dealt with. That sounds like, I mean, Joey Ray sounds like, yeah, you shouldn't be going to me because that's how you propagate this. So I guess I was more asking, like, the people that shied away, is it simply because they knew that Thor was, you know, the son of him, or was it because like there were also consequences because he was was he protecting Thor in any step, or was it just the fact that they were, you know, father and son?
A lot of people that aren't speaking up aren't doing it because they're afraid of Thor's followers, actually. They're afraid of internet repercussions and internet people coming for them.
It has nothing to do with the dad.
Like, legitimately. It
Okay.
has nothing to do with his dad.
Wow, I hadn't even thought about that angle. The fact that his fan base is that rabid, and they absolutely are. You can see a hint of that in the comments under my videos, and my videos are small. Like, almost no one sees them. You know, like, I don't even have an audience yet. I'm still relatively new over here. So, I mean, still pretty new. Like, I'm a couple months in. So, yeah. I hadn't even thought about the fact that his followers are just going to, like, brigade anyone that so much as, like, talk shit about him. But they're not wrong. They absolutely will. Oh, fuck.
Because his dad, like, especially anybody that knew him, like, at Blizzard while they were there, and those of us, like, who know him a little bit better outside of Blizzard, he's normal. He's just a dude. Like, he happens to have been an executive who worked at Blizzard forever. He's a cool guy. Don't get me wrong. But he's not somebody who's going to mess with people. That is not him. He is not like that. He would never do anything like that.
I just wanted to include that last part there because I think it's important to make a distinction that it wasn't like, you know, Joey Ray going out of his way to smite down anybody that would talk badly or, you know, report his son. I just really wanted to make sure that I was representing him in the same way that she was describing him. And just to reiterate on a final note, like, yeah, this stuff happened back in like 2011. Now, Pirate was like 24, 25 at around this time. So I still think, you know, brain was pretty well developed at this point. You know, maybe he has changed over the last, like, truly over a decade now. I think probably the most significant part of this video,
I mean, one would hope. But I like that he's giving him the, you know, this whole benefit of the doubt thing. Damn, I'm going to go back.
is just kind of pushing back on his claims that he didn't get the second job at Blizzard through nepotism, when it looks very clearly, based off of her testimony, Like, that's exactly what happened. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below, and look for a Mudahar video coming out tomorrow. That's it. I'll see you guys later. Adios. Peace. Bye.
Oh, so that's the end of it. All right. It seems like there's more to it than that, though. I didn't think that would be the end of the interview. It sounds like there was definitely more to it than what we got there. So it makes me wonder, like, is there... Oh, shit. That makes me wonder, is there going to be a third part now? Are we doing a part 3? All right. Well, anyway, thank you guys for watching that one. We got a little shine our light on the personal life of Thor, Piratesoftware. I mean, I kind of figured he was lazy. Being messy is part of being lazy. Doesn't sound like he's gross. Doesn't sound like it's Asmongold level bad. But it does sound like he is not putting on a character on stream. Like, who you see is who he is. Which... maybe he's not as bad in person. I don't think he's running around telling people in the office to eat the entirety of his ass. But he's definitely still keeping the condescending tone and avoiding... the main thing is the avoiding accountability. Or even when faced with something as simple as your pet fucking up. Like, you can't even admit your pet... can't even admit that. Even if you want to say, like, he's never done this before. I don't know why my cat is acting like this. Must be the new environment. You won't even just, like... take responsibility for the cat and replace the chair. So all of this speaks to his character. But if you guys enjoyed this one, I'm hoping that there is a part 3, and I'm hoping the part 3 doesn't focus on Piratesoftware. I know the Piratesoftware videos are getting clicks for him right now. They're getting clicks for everybody, which is partially why we're covering this stuff. Which reminds me, do subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you like it. Dislike it if you're a Piratesoftware fan. Hey, the dislikes are still engagement, so I'm fine with you just disliking the... You can dislike Brigade me all you want. But I hope that there is a third part to this interview. It's digging into the Twitch side of things. That's what I'm more curious about. Like, was she there during the time of Dr. Disrespect's ban? Has she maybe gotten a glimpse of those messages? Was she there during the time of Destiny's ban? Was he really banned for this? Was she there during Hassan's, many of the instances with Hassan? And were there talks about banning him? And how did those talks go? And why is he dodging bullets? Like, do people actually, like, play... do you actually have talks about Hassan and shit behind closed doors? Is there, like, do people know that he's untouchable, or is this like the boss steps in to handle it himself kind of thing, and the employees are left out of it? There's so many questions that I have. But if you like this video, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Trying to reach 1,000 so I can make a few shekels off of these. And if you want to watch the live streams, we do them almost every night. I do miss a night every now and then, but almost every night at midnight, 9 p.m. Eastern, or 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. Thanks for watching this one, though, and I'll see you guys in the next one.